Now, al-ma'mum, where does the person stands up in case when he's praying with an imam? So he's praying on his own. Where does the ma'mum stands up? On the right or on the left? On the right of the imam. How does he sit? Like, is it like some of the people they have learned from the madhab? Like, for example, they have learned, Jazakallahu khair. Allah yahsin ilayk ya akhi. So they put slightly a bit back. Have you ever seen that or not? Yeah. Slightly a bit back. And even if you come forward, if you're backward, you back yourself up as an imam to line up with the good, go backward again. He will never be lined up with you. Where is that coming from? No hadith, no athar whatsoever. It's just they have learnt it from something that you have from the books. And the books, if you look at it, there is no such thing, there's a proof for that. And we are Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah, the followers of the Salaf al-Salih. We are people look up onto the proof. We don't really put any preference or priority to a saying of any person, regardless whom he is, except for the saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Give us a proof, we'll follow. No proof, we'll pray next to each other. So we pray the imam and the person who's been led beside the imam, feet to feet, shoulder to shoulder, and no gaps and no coming back. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he says that I have slept the night in the house of my aunt, and his aunt is Maymunah radiallahu anha wa ardah, bint al-Fadl. So Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, when I slept there, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he prayed the Isha, and then he came inside and he prayed 4 rak'ah. This is supposed to be the qiyam or the witr. So I wanted to come and join him in the prayer, so I stood on the left of the Prophet of Allah. So what he did, he turned me from my back like this, he pushed me and he put me on his right. So he was praying with his left, so he did like this, pushed him like this, and Abdullah ibn Abbas is only about 12 years old at that time, the Prophet. So he pushed him like this. Another narration, he held it from his ears. Not hard, of course. And then he put him on his right, and there is no such thing that he made him slightly behind. Right, that means I'm on the right of the imam. Ankle to the ankle, feet to the feet, shoulder to the shoulder. كيف هذا الشيخ؟ إن شاء الله طيب. الله يسعدك ويبارك فيك. Now, if there are more than one person, what do they pray? One on the right or on the left? No. What happened, Jabir radiallahu anhu, says the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he stood up to pray. So I came and I stood on his left. So he took my hand, and then he turned me to my right. Then another person, which is Jabbaar ibn Sakhr radiallahu anhu, he came and he prayed on his left again. So what he did, he took our hands, both of our hands, he pushed us behind. So the first one came on the left, Jabir, he made him to be on the right. Another person, Jabbaar ibn Sakhr, he said, come to pray on the left. He took the hands of both of them, and he pushed them behind. So if there are more than one, you have to pray behind the imam. Okay. You need to know, this is where there is a space. But if there is no space, that we have a masjid on the day of Jumu'ah, where it's absolutely full, and we need to create a row with the imam for that sake. Because if there is a space behind, it's not allowed to make people beside the imam, of course the male imam. The female, for the female, she prays in the middle of the females. But for the male imam, he has to be sticking out. He has to be shown as an imam. Nobody's joining him. But as I said, in case of necessity, where masjid is really full, Jumu'ah, we have to create a row. Then where do the people line up with the imam? If there are more than one, they're going to have a row. Where the imam gonna be? Anybody would like to tell me? Yes?
On the right hand.
He was to be on the right?
Right of the imam.
So he's got to be on the left and people on the right of him. That's what I thought the people gonna say that. Not right. He stays in the middle. What do the people would say?
Two sides.
Two sides. Both sides. There's no right and left. There's only the right. There's only one person, we said. Many people, we line them up on the right and the left of the imam. That's as I said, in the case of what? Necessity. Now in the case of the masjid is not full, meaning that we could have a gap. We have to make the imam on his own. We can't mix him with the people, as I said, unless there's a necessity, and I have seen this necessity in the masjid of Al-Ghuraba in Luton, where they used to push the imam, like the brother used to say, to the extreme left and make the people on his right. I objected on that, and I showed them the proof. Now he's praying in the middle, and people are praying on both sides. And that was made them as well happy, because the pulpit was all the time in the middle. But when he has to pray in the left-hand side and make khutbah in the middle, so they have to take the microphone every time he finishes the khutbah and push them all the way to the left for him to make the salah. And so there's a lot of chaos. So he is next to the pulpit, he sits, steps down, he prays next to the pulpit, people next to him on the left, people next to him on the right with the pulpit, and no problem. This is a necessity.